Hi, this is Dodger, and you're watching my show.
Three, two, one, ready, go!
I finally have more things behind me, and I have my little pin boards up, and I realized that I was missing like 2 feline pins from Monster Hunter in the first series of pins that they did. And so I was looking all over the place, finally found them on eBay. Feeling good about my choices. As far as news goes, most of the stuff that you've heard has probably been from Comic-Con because that's been going on this weekend and it's just so much happening there. But for our first piece of news, we are going to pull from some Comic-Con stuff because they showed a Comic-Con exclusive Warcraft trailer. Now, if you're like me, your first response was, wait, Comic-Con exclusive? Like, we've waited this long to have a trailer, right? Like, we saw a little bit of footage at Blizzard, and they were like, here's just sort of an idea of what this is gonna look like. But it wasn't a trailer, right? So we've been kind of waiting around for a trailer to happen, and now they're like, we made a trailer, but only the people who stood in line in San Diego are gonna see it. It's so silly because most people weren't able to go to BlizzCon, so they didn't see that original, like, proof of concept footage. And then most people are not going to be standing in line in San Diego to see this trailer. So when are we going to have something that's just put up on the internet for people to actually experience and see for themselves? They also did this with Deadpool. There was a Deadpool panel, and they were like, hey, by the way, here's a Comic-Con exclusive trailer for Deadpool stuff too. And I'm like, why? I mean, there are really, really bad phone camera versions of both of those. I think the Warcraft ones have all been taken down, actually, but I did see a Deadpool one. Deadpool looks great. The tone of it is fantastic. Really, really excited for that movie. But I didn't get to see the Warcraft stuff, so like there's like a Kotaku article where he's like, let me just describe to you exactly what I saw in detail. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to read this. Aside from that, we got posters. There's an Alliance poster and a Horde poster. The Alliance poster looks way cooler, and it's not just because I love Vikings, the show, not actual Vikings, because Vikings aren't in Warcraft, you silly billies. I don't think that the Horde one looks quite as impressive as it needs to look with as much as they've been building it up and like how the orcs are gonna look, right? But yeah. We got posters and a trailer that we'll never see because we aren't good enough. Remember that, always. The Batgirl Matter of Family DLC came out for Batman Arkham Knight. If you own the PC version, you will have to wait for quite a while in order to get this DLC for a very obvious reason. It would be very silly to sell DLC for a PC port that is not currently being sold anywhere. So PS4 players get to experience the DLC. PC players, you're gonna have to wait until they figure their shenanigans out. As for like a time frame, because I was looking into this, I was like, so how long exactly are we gonna have to wait for this PC port to come back out? The amount of time that they speculated it would take has passed. So they're still working on it now. I'm trying to think of it in the way of, it's just like, you know, in the past when there's been a console launch and then you have to wait a long time for the PC port. It's fine. You just pretend that they accidentally put it up for sale. And then it's a little bit easier for my brain to just grasp everything that's happened with this game. So the short answer is that we just don't know. We don't know how much longer this is gonna take. We have no idea how soon the people who are currently trying to slog their way through the PC version are going to be able to actually play the DLC. But I've heard that it's pretty good. Maybe I should lie, so that those of you who can't play it don't feel bad. I've heard it's terrible. I think it's apparently like the worst. In my top E3 controversies video, I talked about the Hololens and how people didn't really get a good idea of what it's like to wear a Hololens. And for those of you who are coming into this conversation with no knowledge of what the Hololens is, it is a Microsoft AR headset. AR means augmented reality, so it's something that puts virtual elements inside of your real life. They've recently put out a video, which I think is like the first video I've seen, that kind of cuts back and forth between what the person is actually seeing versus, you know, the sort of bombastic version of like, oh my gosh, there are things popping up all over the place. What a magical world I'm living in. The video doesn't focus on gaming at all. It really just focuses on like the educational benefits of this, the possible medical benefits of this, but it jumps back and forth. So it shows like a guy putting the HoloLens on and popping up a skeleton and then putting muscles on the skeleton and organs and, well, I guess those would come in a different sequence, but you understand what I'm saying. So creating a skeleton and all of the layers of what makes up a body and talking about the educational benefits of that when people are trying to learn anatomy. But they also cut to like what you'd actually be seeing along with the cutoff points. So you get a better idea of what it would be like to actually wear this thing. If you'd like to see that video, I can absolutely link you. Again, it doesn't really talk about any gaming benefits, and I think a lot of people are still sort of wondering how this can affect gaming or really improve or add to the gaming experience. But it does just sort of show you how it works in terms of putting the headset on and experiencing it. I'm hearing Jesse yell in his room. I don't know what he's yelling about. I can't quite understand the words that are coming out of his mouth, but I can hear the aggression. Sort of a similar DLC story for any of you who are still playing Dragon Age Inquisition and are looking forward to the DLC for that. They have announced that all future DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition will only be for current gen consoles. To elaborate, that means only people playing it on PS4, Xbox One, or PC will get to experience the next DLC. So the question, I guess, is whether or not this is fair. Because this happens a lot, right? When you make a game and it spans multiple generations, there's always a point where you're gonna say to yourself, well, is it really worth it for us to program for that stuff like that's sort of stuck in the past, or should we really just focus on the now? And for the people who bought the game for PS3 or Xbox 360, it doesn't feel fair. It feels like, well, but I'm also part of your statistics in terms of how many people have bought your game. Like, don't I deserve to experience your DLC as well? But you do have to remember that everybody is working toward the goal of pushing people forward and getting people to buy new things and re-buy things. And also that they have to put manpower on programming for specific systems, because not all systems are alike. Actually, no systems are alike. I don't even know why I implied that there were. So again, if you were still playing Dragon Age Inquisition and you were looking forward to the next DLC but wanted to play it on PS3 or Xbox 360, you will not be able to anymore, which is kind of sad. Now, to round off with something a bit more positive, Ken from Street Fighter finally got a redesign. A lot of people super excited about this. Some people feel like, did he really need a redesign? Wasn't it sort of part of his character that he and Ryu looked so similar? But you have to remember that in every fighting game there has been an iteration where multiple characters have just been recolors of each other, right? And games like Mortal Kombat have really taken the time to try and apply a totally different design to every character and make them stand out and unique. Street Fighter never really gave that to Ken, and again, story-wise, it makes sense for them to look similar and be very similar. But they finally decided, you know what, we're gonna take Ken and we're gonna redesign him. We're gonna give him new hair, new clothes, it's gonna be awesome. And I have to say, I do think he looks super cool, although his hair looks like cheese, question mark? Not super into the hair. That was like my very first thought was, wow, that hair is not looking great. It looks like goop. But in terms of like his outfit and everything, super into it. I'm like really excited for Street Fighter to sort of come back into the limelight in the fighting game community. Like, I feel like most of the time when I go on Twitch just looking for a tournament to watch, for the most part lately it's been Smash. Like, I haven't really seen a lot of Street Fighter, and that's made me sad because I love watching people play Street Fighter when they're really good at it. It is so fun to watch. So I'm really excited for Street Fighter V to come out and for people to, you know, really dive headfirst into that. If you are at Comic-Con right now, is this the last day? If you were at Comic-Con, hopefully you got to play the demo with Ken in it. And if you're there right now, somehow, magically, you should try it out. And that's it. But that is the end of my show. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was sort of a light news day because we talked about 5 topics instead of 6. But I didn't really want to talk about like the POW Reddit stuff, and there just wasn't really anything else that I wanted to delve into. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. If you would like to have coffee with me, coffee came back today. So you can click wherever I put the annotation and it'll take you to my other channel. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section, and I will see you guys again next week, I think I'm here next week. I'll let you know. Follow me on Twitter at DexBonus, DEXBONUS. Hi. It's apparently like the worst.